Колеги, ми продовжуємо робочий день. До слова запрошується речник адміністрації президента України з питань АТО, полковник Андрій Lysenko.
Now the briefing of Colonel Lysenko. Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues. The events during the last 24 hours in the ATO zone, in Lugansk direction, there are military actions going on of the not very intense. The main tension is to the south of Stanitsa Luganska Shestya Krymsky. At this section, the enemy is not using the heavy weaponry. They are firing from grenade launchers and mortars. About half of military incidents take place in the dark time of the day. During the enemy's mortar shelling at Stanitsa Luganska, a house was ruined, the gas pipeline was broken, and one local citizen is wounded. At the section between Novotashkivsk and Troitsky, it was quiet yesterday, Donetsk direction. There is the stable situation there near Svetlodarsk and Gorlivka. Over there were not a single fact of use of heavy weaponry registered. But, at the same time, we need to mention that the enemy snipers became more active, who are shelling at our reinforcements to the south of Lugansk. And in Zaitsevo near Gorlivka, the enemy twice was shelling at the ATO forces from mortars. At the contact line from Dzerzhinsky to Isanovata, yesterday there was no shelling made by enemy. Near Donetsk, there's the reduction of intensity in military actions. There are shellings at the front line in day and at night, but the enemy is not using often heavy weaponry. At the same time, the enemy is keeping the mortars, tanks and artillery at the front line. Yesterday, about 23 o'clock, the shelling from Grad system was registered near Avdiivka. There is also the very tense situation to the south of the highway from Donetsk to Dnipropetrovsk. The enemy was shelling at the residential quarters of Mariinka. In the result, a little child was wounded. Thanks to the immediate reaction of Ukrainian servicemen, the child was immediately transported to Dnipropetrovsk, where she was operated. Now, according to the doctors, there's nothing threatening to the life of the baby. To the south from Donetsk, the enemy twice was violating the ceasefire, shelling at our military at Novomikhailivka and Berezovoi. The enemy's mortar battery is at the village Elenivka, which is between Donetsk and Dokuchayevsk. In Mariupolsky direction, there are enemy's artillery shellings at Ukrainian positions going on to the west and south from Dokuchayevsk. The enemy is using 122 mm and 152 mm howitzers there. To the south, near Chermalik and Cherokina, the enemy for the first time in long time used 120 mm mortars. The shellings were short and were done from a short distance up to 5 kilometers. Our positions to the east from Mariupol are very well reinforced. The militants are not starting direct fighting with the Ukrainian army. I would like to remind that in the 3 lines of defense, we have now 268 fortification facilities constructed, 20 regions of Ukraine and 5,000 construction people were building them. The first line is controlled by servicemen of the armed forces of Ukraine, the second and the third one by the units of the National Guards of Ukraine. Yesterday, there was the flight of 4 drones registered at in the zone of ATO during the last 24 hours. There are no servicemen killed and 3 wounded. The Ukrainian Special Services detained the dangerous militant nicknamed Ninja, who was planning an act of terrorism in Kramatorsk. He was trying to create the terrorist network. During the search of his house, the special service servicemen confiscated 4 explosives, grenade, and also a gun. Also in Kramatorsk, the militiamen detained 2 local citizens nicknamed Kaban and Maloy. It was found out that those detained people were participating in military actions on the side of the enemy when the city was occupied in the summer last year. In Konstantinivka and Drushkivka, the activity of this network of occupants is blocked. The criminals were continuing to cooperate with the enemy after their cities were liberated by the armed forces of Ukraine. 4 members of the group were detained, 2 are missing. During the search, the Simonov's carabin was confiscated, a lot of money in cash and golden jewelry. Also, 5 citizens of Russian Federation were detained. They were part of international terrorist organization. One of them is in search by Interpol. The pistols, cartridges, and the grenade were confiscated. At the same time, the previously detained militant received the sentences. In Kharkiv, the woman who from December till March this year was given to Federal Service of Security of Russia, and also to DNR the information about dislocation of Ukrainian units, has received the sentence. We would like to remind the Security Service of Ukraine initiated the program of return for people who are ready to surrender and agree to cooperate with the investigation. If they have not committed heavy and serious crimes, they have the chance to get amnesty. More than about 60 persons use this opportunity and they return back to their families. Our Western partners continue to help armed forces of Ukraine. American delegation gave to Ukrainian Marines mobile field expedition hospital. It has 4 tents and could be deployed in the zone of military actions within 24 hours. It is divided into 2 parts, diagnostics and treatment. It's first of all designed to provide first medical assistance and to conduct serious surgeries. It is the second big field hospital that Ukraine received from Western partners. The first one arrived from Canada. The rotation of Ukrainian law enforcers in the zone of ATO continues. The militiamen who were serving in the east of Ukraine came back to Rivensky region. Also from the east, 50 militiamen from Ternopil region returned back in the zone of ATO. Both units were protecting the public order and also were ensuring the protection of strategic facilities. This is all. If you have any questions, please ask. Please introduce yourself. Channel 5, what is the total number of shellings during the last 24 hours? Could you compare with previous time? During the last 24 hours, there were 82 shellings. If you compare it with the previous days, is it less? Yeah, it's significantly less. 3 days ago, we had more than 150 shellings. Any other questions? Any clarification needed? No. Thank you, Colonel. Thank you. Our next briefing is at 1 o'clock.